Hello everyone. So first and foremost, yes, we got that updated, that browser updated. Thank you, Lord. If this is recorded without me having to record with my phone, like I uploaded it without me having to do that, then that means that the browser is now working. Of course you'll know because you're the one watching the video, but I hope it's not temporary. I hope it's permanent. Okay, I really hope we don't have to go through this crap again. Now, you guys might be wondering, why are the lights off? Well, for one, it's pretty late where I live. And I have dogs in here and they're sleeping. And, well, if the light were on, they'd probably be getting up and walking around and stuff. Because the light seems to help calm them down a little. Okay, well, they're not quite asleep yet, but they'll fall asleep soon. Don't worry. And also, I thought I'd change it up a bit. Like, I'm tired of the whole setup, that lighting setup that we have always used. So I'm trying to try something a little bit different. It's almost like episode 25, except now you can see the wall. But anyways, so in this episode, we're going to be comparing what I think are two of the worst video games ever. Now you might be saying, Kiel, you can do better than that. That's not a good idea for an episode. But that's not the main core of the episode. It's gonna what I have in my list of Behemoth Longmaster topics is simulation, which is basically the idea of this episode. But to make it lengthier and more entertaining than that, I'm gonna compare what I think are the two worst. And of course, that always changes. Like, what do you think of when you think of the worst thing ever? There's always going to be something that you find after that turns out to be worse than that. So yeah, it's never consistent. Have my nose, man. Yeah. But as of now, these are what I think are the two worst video games. They are Big Rigs Over the Road Racing. That was pretty obvious. And a more obscure one that maybe you guys aren't that familiar with, Soda Drinker Pro. So, we're going to talk a little bit about both games, but first I'd like to start out with the one that you guys are least familiar with. We're not going to do like in-depth reviews for either game because you guys have seen reviews of Big Rigs over and over. You've seen so many of those, and it's been reviewed to death. Like, why do people review stuff that other people have reviewed? Like, why do people do that? Well, but that's not the point. So, in the world of simulation, well, what exactly is a simulation? It's basically, well, I'm trying to think of how to put it into words. There's a video game series called Farming Simulator. And, man, that train is loud. Why do they always have to do that crap? Sorry. Basically, in Farming Simulator, you do farming like you would in real life, and that's pretty much it. So basically, it's what you do in a virtual world that you would do in real life. I think there's probably Flying Simulator also, and other stuff like that. And it's actually kind of a good idea because why go to school to learn how to fly or to farm when you can get a basic idea of it at your house? Like, it kind of makes sense. So yes, Farming Simulator as a simulation tool is perfectly fine. But as an actual video game, it sucks. It's so damn boring. And like, I played Farming Simulator 16 and the graphics were awful, but that's not what I care about. I care about the gameplay, which is even worse than the graphics, so forget about it. If they I'd be fine with it if it were just like $5, maybe $10. No more than 10. But freaking 60? Come on. It's a simulation. They sell any freaking video game that's modern at $60, regardless of its quality. Come on now. But yeah, they're good for if you want to learn how to farm or fly or whatever. But if you're actually looking for a fun game to play, I'd say skip these. Farming Simulator is crap. They actually sell it and brand it as an actual video game, even though it's more of a simulation tool. Well, anyways. So basically, Soda Drinker Pro kind of falls under that category. However, though, you're not learning anything from it. Like, you're not learning how to do anything, like fly or farm or anything like that. Like, simulators can be anything you can imagine, and you want to learn how to do driving simulator, cooking simulator, stuff that you want to learn but don't necessarily want to go to school for, and even if you do, you want it to be minimal. But this, let me tell you what you do in Soda Drinker Pro. So the graphics are atrocious. They are so freaking ugly, but that's not the point. The point is, the gameplay of Soda Drinker Pro is you walk around for a little bit in each environment, and you drink a soda by pressing a certain button, and that's it. That's literally it. So that's even worse than freaking Farming Simulator. At least in Farming Simulator, you can actually learn something from it. But here, you're not doing anything. Now, look. Soda Drinker Pro was released as some sort of like, I think it was an April Fool's joke maybe. It was released in April of 2016. So yeah, it was probably a late April Fool's joke or something. It was just made as a joke. It wasn't meant to be taken seriously. I get it. But if it's actually sold, like, it's not full price, thankfully. But still, though, I'm not paying a single penny for this piece of crap. If it's branded as an actual video game, and if I'm playing it, I expect it to be fun. This game is nowhere close. But what I'm wondering here, which is worse? Big Rigs or Soda Drinker? Well, let's compare the two. Big Rigs came out in 2003 for Microsoft Windows, and that's it. That's the only platform it's on. What do you do with that game? Well, it's basically a driving game. Now, you put it into this environment, like, I'm not going to go too in-depth because you guys already know this, but I'm just going to do a brief synopsis. Excuse me. I said brief. Well, anyways. So in Big Rigs, you put it into this environment, and you can drive around a little, but that's it. There's no, like, goals or anything. You can completely leave the world, and you can drive through everything, and, you know. So, how does that compare to Soda Drinker Pro? Like, Big Rigs is not even a simulation. It's an actual video game that they sold in stores. And I don't know what its retail price was, but I'm assuming at the time it wasn't that cheap. So how does that compare? Now, look, I have a video game score list, and there's like 475 games on there. At least as of this video. And, well, I score each game based on how fun they are. And, if you remember, this is episode 58, so split this episode in, the number of episodes in half, and you'll get episode 29. If you remember in that episode, I explained a little bit about the number 0 and how nothing gets scored less than a 1 out of 10. I don't care how much you hate it. It's not less than 1. Okay. But they can still get pretty close to 1. Or even 1 itself. Where were we? So, Yeah, now, Soda Drinker Pro. Let's talk about the fun factor of each of these games, which they're completely devoid of. But let's see what's the most fun you can have out of either of these games. What's the best time they'll have? Now, Big Rigs is actually considered so bad it's good. It's so broken that you gotta try it out. We've all been there before. It's that bad. It's so bad it's good. But that's figurative good. That's not actual good. You're laughing at the game because of how bad it is, but you're not actually enjoying the game. Well, in Big Rigs, if you go in reverse, you will go almost infinite speed. Like you can accelerate forever. Well, almost forever. I think it goes up to undecillion or something. I don't know. But and you can give the arrow keys, tap the arrow keys, and it jitters around. It's crap. But I think going in reverse in Big Rigs is probably the best time you'll ever have in that game. That's the closest to having fun you will ever have in Big Rigs. In Soda Drinker Pro, I can't even say the same for that. All you do is just walk around for a minute. Like there's a certain timer, and when it goes off, you go to the next place, and all you can do is just sip soda. I'd rather drink soda in real life, and it depends on the kind of soda. Like Sprite is pretty good, but there's some sodas I don't like. I'd rather drink freaking any soda than play this game. I don't know about that, but you won't know what I mean. So, in conclusion, me personally, I believe Soda Drinker Pro is the worst in Big Rigs. Just barely. Just for the fact that in Big Rigs, it's so broken and hilarious, and that at least gets some amount of fun in it. Like, that's somewhat enjoyable. Like, I don't know if enjoyable is the right word, but that's somewhat amusing. And going in reverse is almost fun. Like, I wouldn't say it's almost fun, but it's the closest to fun this game has to offer. In Soda Drinker Pro, you can't even do that. It's extremely slow, and so yeah, Soda Drinker Pro is probably the worst of the two. Score-wise, I'd probably give Soda Drinker Pro a 1.2 out of 10. Big Rigs would probably get a 1.3. For some reason, though, Metacritic gave it like a 30%. That's way too freaking high. And 91% of Google users actually like the game. Maybe they like it because of the joke, but it's a pretty bad joke. Joke or not, a video game is a video game. If it's not fun, it's not fun. And trying to find the absolute bottom of the barrel is tough. But as of now, I think Soda Drinker Pro might take the cake. Well, guys, if you're looking for a fun game to play, don't buy simulation games, especially ones that sell for $60 freaking dollars. There's lots of good games out there, and I'm not going to list off any here because we'd be here all day, but you can. I'm sure you can figure out which ones are good and which ones are bad. Just look at reviews or something. And if you absolutely have to try Soda Drinker Pro, I wouldn't recommend it, but go ahead. As for Big Rigs, you'll be laughing your butt off, so it doesn't matter too much. Well, I don't even think you can find Big Rigs online anymore. There was one copy for like $50, and now there's not, so somebody must have bought it or something. Well, anyways, I will see you guys in the next episode. The lights will probably be back on then, but anyways, goodbye.